Lazy little boy. You know he's going to do that with Lola on it, and she's going to have a fit.
Hey, no biting.
Likes that hole, doesn't he?
Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, baby. Hi.